youngest son seems to have grown fond of you, sir. It is time he was a squire. But he tells me he will serve no knight but you.
Will you have him? Beg your pardon, Lord, but I think I'm done with princes.
Maybe you're not the knight I thought you were.
Yeah, in the finale, Maekar is fully forever changed by what happened with his brother. Of course, it was an accident. He's going to be haunted by this for the rest of his life. How retaliatory does he feel about Dunk after he realizes Egg is gone? And then, Daniel, for you, how retaliatory will Lionel feel when he finds out that he was rejected by Dunk for a Targaryen, do you think?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, it'll be interesting how retaliatory.
Give that another go.
Yeah, I can't say that word either. I'm so out of my mind with speaking so much now. But it'll be interesting what the effect on Maker that is, and whether that will be exposed in future series or not. But I think it's quite clear by the end that again he's lost another son to an influence beyond his sphere, and that must kill him as a dad. That he can't kind of bring up the son that he wants.
Yeah, I think Lionel. I don't think retaliation is really in his wheelhouse. I think it would be uninteresting to him, that, and I think actually he'd probably be like, "Wow, you've got some balls. I offered you this amazing opportunity, and you went off with this little bald kid." And I think that would be as interesting to him as any other aspect of Dunk. He's quite Lionel's a mercurial guy. He might have a little hissy fit about it, and then quite quickly suggest they go and have a drink and dance on some tables and slap each other.
Yeah.
He'll be looking to find the next Dunk.
Yeah. Dunk and Egg are so naturally good that it reminds so many characters in this show what it means to be noble. How would you describe the impact that they have on your character specifically? Perhaps an impact that can't be fully shown on screen.
Sure, yeah. I think that for Tanselle, Dunk is one of the first men that she's encountered in her life that hasn't led with a false bravado, and I think the shyness and the awkwardness I think is kind of endearing for her a little bit at the beginning, but just that personality I think is impressive to her, because I mean she sums it up, all men are fools. So it's like, yeah, I think him not leading with boisterous, in-your-face energy is something that takes her by surprise, and she likes that energy, which I think is why she's intrigued by him and doesn't blow him off immediately. So it's, yeah, I think that's just like a reminder for her that maybe some men are okay.
Yeah, does he give her hope?
Yeah, I think I definitely think there's a bit of hope there. Yeah, I think she's very intrigued by him, to understand him more. I mean, who knows, that fake, the like awkwardness could be the persona that he's putting on. I think that finding out what's really him is what's intriguing to her.
There is a moment where I suggest a plan that he come and kind of exist in my house, and he will finish his training, but also teach Egg to how to be a proper squire and all the rest of it. So there is an he does kind of compel people people want to be with Dunk in a way. They see him as a kind of force for something that will be good for their lives, but he's more independent, and he's got a kind of a nose for kind of something that he shouldn't be around, which is why he leaves. He leaves. I've run out of words.
It's
good,
okay.
I've knows for something he shouldn't be around.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah.
We don't see much of Tanselle in the last 2 episodes, so I wonder, how does she feel about this historic trial of 7 taking place to defend her, really? Because that's what Arion does to her, is the inciting incident for all of this.
Yeah, I wondered that too. I thought, I mean, there's like so many possible options. Did she leave and kind of dismiss it and not think about it and self preserve, or is this playing on her mind? I think that is like a question that's up in the air, and I don't think I think it should be like left for interpretation. I don't think I can answer that because yeah, I think it could be like explored later on. So I think, yeah, it's like kind of up in the air. I'm sure it weighs on her somewhat, but she doesn't really know this guy. So, you know, saving her own life and her family's life, I think, is a priority.
Yeah. Do you think she'd ever come back to this place after this?
I wouldn't personally. I'd never be in Ashford ever again.
Yeah, I mean, justifiably so for her. What happened is so
Yeah.
horrific.
Yeah.
And how does she feel about Dunk? I mean, we touched on this a little bit, but I'd love for you to elaborate more. How does she feel about Dunk before Arian hurts her, and how do her feelings change after?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, before, I mean, he is just like, I mean, he's a like monster of a guy. He's very tall, and seeing one for a tall girl, seeing men that are so vastly taller is a shock. So that's one intriguing. But yeah, his personality just doesn't really fit the way he looks, which is odd. It's just odd to her. But after, I think it's just like, it's very puzzling. I mean, I think there is like a aspect of gratitude, but how would you take this gesture from a man that you really barely know, to like how are you supposed to deal with that? What does he expect from her now? I think is probably playing on her mind. But yeah, I think that definitely is like a turn up on the like dial. You know, the the fascination is definitely turned up for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting that you describe it that way. That in terms of her fears of what he might expect from her after the fact, I feel like it's definitely a little more influenced by men she's met in the past. I don't imagine Dunk would be the kind of guy
Yeah,
to do
no,
that.
no.
But do you think that feeling of hers does influence the fact that, I mean, of course, like we know why she doesn't come back narratively from the books and everything, but to you, why do you think that influences her choice to just kind of pack up and go?
Yeah, in my mind, I imagine that she hadn't even finished painting the shield yet. And so she was going to pack up and leave, and maybe it was halfway through the shield and put the effort in to finish it and leave it for him, as that parting gesture. So I do, there is definitely like a lingering something, but yeah, it's hard to like pin down exactly what the situation would be if she had have stayed.
Yeah, and what does she think of Egg?
Egg. Well, I mean, I think being a puppet show, you know, a narrator, I mean, there's lots of children, there's always lots of children. I imagine she really likes children, and Egg is quite like outspoken and boisterous. Well, not maybe not boisterous, but like just confident, which I think is kind of cute. I mean, that's endearing as in a little kid. So I think she likes that, like that self-assuredness as a child is cool. It's fun.
Yeah, and of course he has that big reveal moment where his identity is revealed, and again, it's tied to your character. So, where is she? And I mean, she's probably just like reeling in pain, right? But like,
Right, yeah, yeah.
does she process what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, obviously in extreme pain, but I think she is an intelligent person, and him revealing this, she puts it together and knows what it means. But in her life, I don't think it's that major, you know? I mean, it's a shock, but it's her, she has to protect herself first, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I imagine this is not something you may be able to answer, but I got to ask anyway. I understand season 2 production's already underway. I know in the books that Duncan Egg goes searching for Tanselle, never find her. What are the chances we'll see you in season 2?
I would definitely love to continue her story and continue the Duncan Tanselle connection. So I'm excited to for the future of Tanselle. That's all I could say.
I don't know if you've seen online, but a lot of fans have said just from the previews that they've seen and the interviews they've seen from the show that it's like they took the book and shook it, and Duncan Egg fell out with Peter and Dexter. So I wonder if there was a moment on set where that produced a similar feeling for you.
I don't really think in those terms, I suppose, because it's amazingly rich to be able to do something that's adapted from a novel, something I've done quite a lot of, and it's an amazing resource because you can dive into the world in that way. But then you've got to start all over again and find out. The great thing about our medium is it's very alive. It's people doing stuff, and you find out from one moment to the next what it's going to be. And often you don't know what you're in until afterwards, when you watch it 18 months later or whatever. So I suppose what I'm saying is that, I wouldn't be in the act of comparison as I go along, because you've got to be paying attention to what's there. But I loved working with both of them. I think they're both phenomenal, and I think it really the kind of chemistry they have on screen is amazing. It's wonderful.
So how does Baelor feel about Aegon compared to his other brothers? And how does that compare to Baelor's feelings about his own brother Maekar, do you think?
One of the things I like about this story is that it matters what people do from one minute to the next. You don't come out of the womb predetermined to be good, bad, or ugly. Goodness is as goodness does. And I think that when you're talking with a young boy or girl, the potential for them to be good Aegon or bad Aegon is at its height, right? So it matters in you talking to children. I think that's probably what he thinks. And he can see in the example of his brothers what he might become, and I think has hope for that boy and wants to set a good example. But that's true of Baelor too, and importantly, kind of dramatically, you don't want to know. I've heard a lot today about Baelor being a good man. And that's not true until it is. Do you know what I mean? This story is about the fact that you decide from one moment to the next whether you're going to do the right thing. And what makes the story moving and heroic is when people choose to do the right thing, in spite of what they might choose. And that seems to me to be an important story to tell right now in a darkening world. I want to see stories about people who choose to do the right thing when they might as well not. And so you want to believe that Baelor might just as well kill you as protect you. And that is true. He might. And he has. He's won a famous battle, the hammer and the anvil, they called Baelor and his brother. These two men have killed, and there is a familial cruelty there that's available to Baelor. That he chooses to do something we regard as heroic is what happens, but it happens in spite of what might happen. Do you see what I mean? And I find that thrilling, So I just wanted to kind of not know from one minute to the next what he was going to do. It's just good storytelling, isn't it?
And what about his feelings after the tournament is over? Of course, we see he survives. We don't hear much from him though afterwards. So, yeah.
I think exactly that. Like he's kind of faded away into the history books because he's been bested and maybe shown what it means to be a true knight, which is, I don't think, something he was very concerned with at all before.
Yeah, and do you think at the end he's feeling at all ashamed of himself?
Hugely. I think embarrassed, ashamed. Yeah. Angry, I'm not sure. I think he knows that Dunk won fair and square. I actually think that's what was going through my mind, kind of when is I think that kind of like final thing is Aerion realizes he'll actually never be enough. Nothing he can do will impress his father or his uncle or any of his lineage enough to make him anything.